Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, in this video, I'm going to talk you through 9 critical builds and how to do them in Raid Shadow Legends. If you can even master the first 4, you'll be out of the traps, you'll be able to do anything in the game and kind of get on your way. I'm going to show you 9 different builds and we're going to be using the Hell Hades Optimiser to do it. By the way, as of today, it's now free to use for Macs. Free to use for anyone on a PC. There are some perks for anyone who's a member that is uncommon or higher, but everybody else is a freebie. We've unlocked Max completely after doing the beta testing. If you have been living under a rock or you're new to Raid and you're unaware of what the Optimiser even is, basically you can go to hellhades.com, you can click on Optimiser, and then you can download this tool, which I'm going to show you today. Basically, I'm going to do these 9 builds using the Optimiser. It doesn't mean if you play on a mobile, this video is useless because you use the same logic when you're doing your builds on your mobile phone. It's just perhaps not quite as precise as when you're using the Optimiser. So I'd like to thank Bloodline, Heroes of Lithas, for sponsoring this video. New legends will be born. So this game was recently released and it is performing well. You will be able to download using a link down below, and I will be dropping a promo code to give you a Brucey bonus start with a new champion, some gold, some diamonds, all the good stuff from the start. So I genuinely think that Bloodline's got the potential to mix up the gacha scene right now. They've got 3D fantasy Western style kind of graphics, which we all know and love. Yeah, and that's going to be the kind of first tick. We need to get that part done. So this fantasy RPG, it does have a tower to climb. It does have arena fights. It does have guild raids. All the sort of things that we want within this style of game and more. You also build up your kingdom and have a kind of like soft economy to try and drive as well. There's an awesome variety of champions, of legendary heroes that you'll be able to collect. You can actually marry 2 different types of legendaries together and create an heir. And they've got this heir system, which I think is going to be super cool because you can actually, like, it's a bit of an RNG thing, but you can get yourself a really cool new hero from mixing 2 bloodlines together. So to give you an example of how this can actually work, we've got a hero here, Karg. He is a Lycan. Yeah, for those who've seen Underworld, one of the sort of werewolves of the world. Super cool looking champ. You can actually mix a Lycan with a demigod. So we've got here Fulgar, that could be your demigod. You mix them together and the bloodline becomes obscene. And to celebrate the launch of this game, we're actually going to give you a free champion from this bloodline, which is super cool as well. I'm genuinely going to be trying this game myself. I want to see where it goes. It looks like they've got a lot of interesting different mechanics within the game, different strategies, which I love. So go ahead, download Bloodline Heroes of Lithas right now. If you use my promo code, which is probably popping up somewhere around me, you'll get yourself some gold, some diamonds, and a good few power-ups for champions in the game. Thank you again, Bloodline Heroes of Lithas, for sponsoring the video. Okay then, once you've downloaded the Optimiser and logged in, you only use the website login information. We never take any Raid login information from anybody. You hit upload to website, and basically what it does is it takes like a screen capture of your account. Yeah, it understands everything that's just happened on your account. If you then go and do a dungeon or you change a build, it will live update. So it will refresh that update. But this is like a clean, fresh look at my account as it stands right now. So you come to this page here and there's a number of different options. I'm going to be doing champion builds today, so I'm going to show you 9 different builds. But you can do a couple of other things as well. You can go into the team optimizer and basically look at suggested teams for your account. So what it will do is it will look at champions that you own and it will suggest a team based on champions you own. So if I wanted to build a better Ice Golem team, for example, for stage 25, I could hit suggest team, and then I could say, give me a team that's got at least a 98% win rate, and show me the fastest teams that exist. Hit apply filter, and then it starts to throw out some crazy teams for my account that I could try and copy. I then hit view variations, and it tells me the speeds of the champions that I'm going to try and copy. And if I am an uncommon or higher member, so I get all of the perks, then I can also see this kind of like full page breakdown of what that team was wearing, what type of stats they had. And you can also hit show all to show if there's any like AI setups for that particular team. So you can do that for anywhere in the game. Yeah, you can literally come in and be like, you can go, let's just back. You can go into anywhere in the game, like Hydra, you know, if you're trying to build a better Hydra team, if you're trying to do, I don't know, Faction Wars, if you're trying to do Doom Tower stuff, it's all in here. Just be aware for Doom Tower, because I get this question a lot. There's basically 3 rotations of Doom Tower. This isn't the boss Eternal Dragon. It's just what the game calls rotation 2, the Eternal Dragon rotation. And then from there, you say normal or hard, and you say what stage you're on. So if you're on stage 90, for example, that's how you find the Griffin. Yeah. And again, same sort of idea. Hit suggest team, and it'll pop out teams that are doing it well, and you hit the filters that you want. So that's all in there. There's a whole bunch of other stuff as well. If you're a paid member, then you get this kind of like artifact rating system, which myself and Saphira from HH Gaming designed. It's not foolproof. It doesn't mean you have to sell everything that says weak or, you know, or anything below strong. There will be some things where you need to apply your own logic, but generally it's a pretty good system just to say, is it something I should be keeping or not? And I probably need to do a bit of a cleanup myself. Anyway, let's get into the builds. So if it kind of pops up, you're like, I can't work out what's going on. Why is it only showing me this? Just try hitting reset filter. What it will be doing is it will just be like capturing what you did before. And you'll see here, I've got a bunch of locked champions. You see this little padlock? I can decide what tier of locking they have. So if I've got someone who's locked 5, basically that's all of my like critical builds. If I have someone who's locked 4, I could choose later down the line to actually use some of their gear if I want to. And you could have locks 4 down to 1, obviously, 5 down to 1. So you have 5 different groupings. You just decide which each of those groupings are. It might be that you're like, my arena champions are locked 5, my clan boss team is locked 4, my dungeon runners are locked 3, and then at some point in the future you might decide, well, I don't mind if I steal gear from my dungeon team for this particular build. Then you can include all of your locked 3 champions. That's the why we've done it in the way we've done it. Okay, so let's show all of my roster, and we're going to start with the first build. We're going to go with how to build a speed champion. It's a basic one. Yeah, so it might be a champion like an Arbiter. You pick up your champion, you hit optimize artifacts here. And again, you don't have to be in the optimizer to do this. I'm just trying to show you what I would do. So for a basic build, just like someone that we want to run fast, we basically go into our battle, and optimization goal, we're actually going to want to pick balanced. Yeah, there's 3 options here: balanced, damage, or survivability. Balanced means I just kind of want to push a couple of stats. Damage, I want damage. And then survivability, EHP, that's the most effective health points that you can have. So basically what it's doing is it's merging health and tankiness together. Yeah, health and defense together in the right possible way. So we're going to go balanced. We're going to go into stats. Again, if I've got somebody that I've used before, it will remember what I did last time. So if I used a particular set, it will remember it. If you want to just clear all of that off, you can just hit reset, and it will reset everything back to nothing again. So balanced, go into stats. All I want to do is say, give me as much speed as you can. Simple one. And it will say, right, on your gear, Hell Hades, the best we can do is get you up to 371. Okay? And then if you hit view, it will find those items. Yeah, so that's a simple one. If you want to get a build where it just focuses on one stat, then balanced and hit that stat. Second one is a debuffer. Second champion we want is a debuffer. Let's just pick out a Stag Knight. So for a debuffer, we actually need a combination of 2 stats predominantly. We want good accuracy and we want good speed. Think about it. Someone like a Stag Knight, someone who's going to do debuffing from your team, generally they want to do it before your damage goes. This is especially important for a drop defense champion. So you want to go before your damage, and you want to make sure that you land your abilities. Yeah, so we hit optimize and start, and it will find me a fast build with good accuracy. Now you might look at this and be like, whoa, that's way over the top on the accuracy that I needed, or it's not enough. So you can actually just kind of like back up and say, whoa, whoa, whoa. No, forget that. I don't want more than 250 accuracy here. Or you might throw it the other way if it's not pulling you enough and say, whoa, I want at least 200. Now, just remember, with these sliders, what you're actually saying is, I want 200, and then I still want you to prioritize it. So actually, if I want 200, I'll take the priority off completely. And then I'll just say, I want at least 200 accuracy, but make him as fast as possible. And this will then be my debuffer now coming in much quicker, but at the accuracy that I want. And then you might be like, yeah, but I also need them to be able to take a hit. So make sure you do give me some health and a bit of defense as well. I don't really care about crit rate, for example. And then bam, again, it changes the build to fast with the accuracy I need, but now it's prioritizing some health for me as well. Yeah. With my level of gear, I'd be more like, well, hold on a minute. Give me all of that. Give me what I want in speed and accuracy, but actually I want some crit rate as well. I then hit the reset, and again, it will give me the crit rate I want, the accuracy I want, and fast. Okay, so that's the second build. That's the debuffer. Now we're going to move on to a Nuker. Someone who's going to be my damage dealer. So let's pull out, let's pull out a Kale. And what we're going to do is going to reset everything again. So for a Kale or a damage dealer, we want to go into the battle screen and we want to choose damage. And if you've got a particular skill that you want to do damage with, like Kale's got a really strong A2, you do want to select the skill that you want to do damage with, because you've got slightly different multipliers building up here. It's also worth selecting the amount of defense roughly that you're up against. So you might be like, well, this is against arena champions, so most of them are going to have 3,000 defense, for example. Okay. We're then going to go into stats. Now, this time it's going to choose to give me 100% crit rate automatically, and that's what you want for a damage dealer. And after that, it will then decide the best gear from your account, yeah, for damage. So if you've got good savage gear, it will choose it over non-savage gear if the stats are good enough. And that's, again, something that you're going to want to be looking for. Now, with a Kale, actually on his A2, we go into his skills here, his A2, he gets an extra 15% crit rate from his hits. So actually, I can override this one and say, whoa. Kale doesn't need 100%. I only need 85. Yeah. So for Kale, we want to go 85. But normally for your Nuker, you want 100% crit rate. They want to be crit capped. And then you want to say, I do need some speed. Normally for your Nuker, you actually don't need them so fast. So let's call it 170 speed that I need. You'll make decisions as to whether or not you want accuracy or not. But generally, I'd advise for a plain Nuker, you don't want accuracy unless you're using them in a lot of other content as well. And there's skills that you want to land. Kale's a good example here. If I was using Kale as my arena Nuker, but I also needed him in Clan Boss, then I would have put 230 base accuracy in there for Ultra Nightmare. If it was Nightmare, 170, and you go backwards from there. But for Kale, all we're going to say here is give me 170 speed, give me 85 crit rate, and then optimize me for damage. And it will start working through my gear, and it will be pulling out basically the best combination of attack and crit damage when you merge them together. And there is a sweet spot for those two stats. We then hit view, and it'd be like, right, actually you need to take some gear off of champions in the game. So you see here the champion that's popped up. I can find that gear in the game and go and equip it. So crit damage gloves, for example, attack % chest that's sitting on my Septimus. I'd have to go and grab that off of them and equip it. If this popped up, by the way, in the Optimiser, and you're like, I don't want to take anything from Septimus, I can just quickly put a lock on my Septimus, discard the build, clear it, start again, and then Septimus will no longer pop up in future builds. Okay, but that is building your damage Nuker, and this will be someone then, and actually a cool thing you can do if you are a uncommon member on the website is you can see what the damage will do or what the build change will do. So my Kale in his current build is hitting for 7,562. And then you can just hover over the new build and it's like, what will it do to my damage? Well, my Kale's probably naked here, but this build would add 38,000 to whatever Kale's wearing right now. So that's the Nuker. Let's move on to an enemy max HP champion. So for this, we're going to build out a Royal Guard. Now, enemy max HP, slightly different type of build to a straight Nuker. Yeah, generally, enemy max HP, their damage comes from the enemy's health, not from your attack. So you actually don't need them to be in the same type of damage build as we just saw. You can actually go into the battle here. We're going to go for a damage. We can either go for a damage build or you can go for a balanced build. So if I went for a balanced build, I would say, give me a minimum 170 speed. Give me 100% crit rate. I want health and I want crit damage. Yeah, crit damage being the primary focus. And what this will do is instead of giving me like attack percent chest, it should find me an HP percent chest. Yeah, so we're still going to have the 100% crit rate. We're going to have high crit damage. You see the way it's trying to like find its way through my gear, gradually kind of tweaking stuff. But instead of pushing up massive attack like you would in a Nuker, we're actually pushing up higher health. And then if we just stop it when we're good, and then we look at what we've got, and we've got here high crit damage, high health, and it's finding crit rate in my items to get me to 100% crit rate. Still finding me things like speed boots, depends what you want from the build. And you might look at it and be like, yeah, this all looks good, but actually, I just personally want to change the banner. Or you can go ahead and do that in game. That's absolutely fine. But that's the style of build that I would want from an enemy max HP. Strong health, good speed to the level that you want it to be, 100% crit rate, and then maximum crit damage. The only difference to that is if you've got someone that you want to land abilities, like if you want Seer to actually rip buffs off, you need enough accuracy to do it. If you want Cold Heart to land her Heart Seeker and reduce turn meter, you need enough accuracy to do that as well. Okay then, the fifth build that you're going to want to look for, a clan boss build. This first clan boss build I'm going to do is based on not being in an unkillable team, which means that you can take hits and you can die. Yeah, so for a champion like this, depends what clan boss you're on. Okay, so if you're on Nightmare clan boss, then the clan boss is running at 170 base speed. If you're on Ultra Nightmare, he's running at 190 base speed. You want to get yourself to Deadwood Jedi Sight and get yourself a speed tune, because a speed tuned team is way better than just a willy-nilly team. But some basics here for you if you're just trying to work your way through the game. You know, a good level of speed for a clan boss champion around 175. That speed will actually sink in for Brutal, Nightmare, and Ultra Nightmare once they've all taken one turn. You want to make sure that you've got enough accuracy to land your abilities. So for Nightmare, I'd suggest a minimum of 170. For Ultra Nightmare, I'd suggest a minimum of 230. Ideally, you want to get crit rate, but let's make sure that you can actually get through the fight first. So the first thing I want to do is make sure that I've got enough defense for the fight. Let's assume we're fighting Nightmare here. I'm going to go 170 accuracy. I'm going to say, give me at least 3.5k defense, or I can just say, give me a good amount of defense and a good amount of health. Yeah, and then optimize. And what it will do is it will start working through my gear, building my defense and my health. Now, clearly, my gear is strong. Yeah, if I did this on my free-to-play, I'd be looking at a number more like 3,500 defense and probably about 40,000 health. But obviously, my gear here is very strong. It's going way above my speed requirement right now. So we're going to pull that back. It's like I'm giving it too much freedom. So I'm actually going to say, okay, yeah, but I don't want to go above 179. So stop throwing me a fast build in. And then we start to, and what it would normally do is kind of like cap out at the higher end if you can achieve it. And you see here, because my gear is strong, it's like, yeah, I'm finding you absolutely tons of defense and HP right now. So what I could do is I could just say, give me a bit of priority towards crit rate. Yeah, so I can get my crit rate building up. And, you know, the more direction I give it, the better my build will start to become. So if I can get to a high crit rate for clan boss, then great. I start to do some damage with my hits. And then you're like, well, hold on a minute. My health now is still looking high. Let's maybe tell it to give me a bit of crit damage as well. Just as like the lowest importance. And then I've kind of got to the place where I'm like, great. Now I'm starting to get a build. Good health, good defense, 100% crit rate, nigh on, and I'm hitting for some crit damage whilst having the accuracy to do what I want to do. All right, let's talk about an unkillable team. So if we was to build out a Fane's not high enough level. Do we have an Anax? Yeah, if we was to build out an Anax for an unkillable clan boss team, when you've got someone like a Helicaf doing your unkillable stuff, or Man-Eater type of teams, Debuffer teams, all that type of stuff. So on an unkillable, it's very similar to building a Nuker. So we're going to say, give me a build for damage. And we're going to say, whatever the speed is you need for your unkillable team. Let's say we need a 237 speed, whatever it is. Yeah, you need to, again, get yourself the Deadwood Jedi sight to have a look for that. If that champion needs accuracy, put your accuracy in. If they don't, you leave it blank. And then basically that's it. We don't care about any other stats. We just want to make sure we've got the right speed for our build and enough accuracy to do the job. We hit start and it will start to look through your gear. Now, this will probably be a slower build to find because it's looking through a lot more items to get to almost like the perfect combination. And here we go. We start to find some. So the right speed. If you're coming up with too fast a build, you might need to put a cap on it. But generally, over time, as it looks and sifts through, it will pull itself back to that minimum speed. If you say to the optimizer, let's say you were on a balance build and you put the right speed in and then you hit importance to the top, that's actually not telling it the right information, unfortunately. And it's hard to change the bars to make it real. But you're not saying it's important I hit that speed. Actually, what you're telling the optimizer is 237 is my minimum, but give me as much speed as you can as well. Yeah, so it's not quite doing it in the right way. If I had this on a balanced build and I said 237, then I went, it's really important. The optimizer actually thinks you're saying 237 is my minimum, but I want you to give me as much as you can on top of that. And it'll end up giving you tons of speed. So just bear that in mind. Perhaps that's something, perhaps that's poor in the way we've developed the name of that slider, honestly. But anyway, this gets us to a build where we've got 100% crit rate because it's going to be an unkillable team. We want to do as much damage as we can. High attack, high crit damage with the accuracy that I want. That's your unkillable build. Okay then, let's build out a shield champion. So this is quite a niche build. The next few are going to be a little bit more niche, but they're actually going to be really helpful things for you to understand the fundamentals of building champions. So we're going to pick out a Vogoth here. We're just going to reset anything I had before and say, right, Vogoth, we want you to have a particular set. So we go into sets and I say, I want you to use a shield set. Yeah, 1 count. The second set I can just leave as any or pick me the best possible set. Or I might say to the build, actually, no, I want you to go Immortal Gear as the second set. Yeah, you can choose what you want to do with that. I think initially we'll just go with any. This is going to be my shield champion. Now, a shield champion, you still will want to dictate the number of speed, but I would go into a balanced build here. Let's say I want them to be able to keep up with the flow of a dungeon, but not so fast that it hinders the quality of shield that I can put on the rest of my team. So 170 speed. And then all I'm going to say is, give me as much health as you can. Why am I saying that? Well, a shield scales from HP. So you want as much HP as you can get to give that massive shield to the rest of your team. I hit optimize, I hit start, and it will go through and be like, right, on this Vogoth at that speed, I can give you 107k worth of HP, which actually in game is going to be like a 32,000 shield across my team. It's almost doubling the health of my other champions in my run. So that's how you go about building your shield champion. Let's use the same champion then. Let's just reset again. Now, what about if I want to build the tankiest build I can? Yeah, so I just want to build an absolute meat shield, a tank. Again, you can choose the set you want it to be in if you want to, but for battle, I'm going to change this now to EHP. And I might choose, for example, to be like, I want the tankiest boy that I can get in my Frost gear. Yeah, so in Frost set, because when he provokes this Vogoth, he's going to take hits, and I've got a chance to freeze people that hit me, but I need him to be able to take a hit as well as he possibly can. Again, if you want a minimum speed, you can put it in. And if you want a minimum accuracy, you can put it in. But after that, all it's going to do is look for tanky stats. And that's the best possible combination of defense with HP. Yeah, effective HP is the best combination of keeping you alive. And again, like if I was trying to do this without using the Optimiser, I'd be punching for 4k defense, ideally 4.2k, and then I'd be looking to get as much health as I could. But what the Optimiser does really well is balances those two stats to find you the effective sweet spot. Again, it finds the speed I want, it finds the accuracy I want, and then it's given me the best combination of stats in Frost set. If I said, actually, I don't care about Frost set, I just want him to be the tankiest he can be, a stop, a clear, a go again, and it will work with that sort of premise then of, okay, I'm now looking at everything you've got, and we try and find, again, the best combination based on the stats that I want, and that will give me the best possible tank that I can build. Right then, 2 more builds to go. We're going to build out, second to last, a bomb champion. So let's go for a Gaius as a bomb champion. Gaius may be a little bit different to some bomb champions because you might want him to just do basic damage. But for a bomb champion, their bombs purely scale from attack. Yeah, attack, attack, attack. That's what their bombs scale from. So what we're going to want to do for a bomb champion is actually go into a balanced build. And we're going to say, please give me whatever speed you need them to be. Please make sure they land bombs in the arena. And it might be that actually you don't even put stats in here at all. You just say, yeah, accuracy is important. Speed's a little bit important. I don't care about crit rate at all, so I'm going to take the soft cap off. What is a soft cap, you ask? Basically what it says is, if I can find you some stats in that area, where do you want me to stop adding? Or it might be, you might say, my minimum is 100, my soft cap is 100, and then what it will do is say, okay, so you want me to try and find you 100, but if I go slightly over, you're still kind of happy with that. Yeah? So we're saying speed's a little bit important, accuracy is important, but attack is where I want you to focus. Hit optimize, hit start, and then what it's going to do is try and find me a juicy amount of attack with some speed, with some accuracy. And then you might be like, ooh, this is a flipping insane amount of attack, but my accuracy is not really where I want it to be. So let me just give the accuracy a bit more importance and perhaps take the attack down just a touch. And then we go again. And what it will now do is start to prioritize the accuracy a bit higher and the attack not quite so much. Yeah, and you can play around with those sliders until you find that kind of happy spot that you want it to be. But your bomb champion purely scales from attack. They're actually very good in the arena. They're incredibly good against Stone Skin. I'm not going to say they're good in PvE because they're generally not unless you've got insane gear. All right, then. The last build I'm going to show you is the solo build. Okay? Quite cool here. You see this champion is not fully maxed out, not fully ascended. I can actually say, max this champion out for me for my build purposes in the Optimiser. You could do that if they were a level 1. Yeah, so you can actually almost like do a bit of theory crafting around the type of build you want to do. So what we're going to do here is we're going to look for a champion that can solo Dragon 25. Yeah, so I can go into hellhades.com. I can hover over Raid Shadow Legends, go into Raid Stages tool. This is a really good tool, by the way. It just gives you loads of information out of Raid. Go into Dungeons, choose Dragon, choose Stage 25, and it will tell me the speeds that I'm up against of all of the enemy champions. It will tell me the resistance of the enemy champions, and then the kind of box beside it will be the accuracy I need to beat that resistance. And it will also tell me the enemy's accuracy and the resistance I would need to withstand all of their crap. Yeah, so if I want to make sure that when the dragon is starting to throw the stuns at me on the final fight, I resist those stuns. I actually need a resistance of 305. That's kind of like my target. So we go into the build here. Again, I'm going to want to go for a balanced build for a solo champion. Unless somebody massively heals himself like Withir does, normally for a solo champion, you're going to want to use regen sets, one of the best sets. If someone does heal themselves, like a Withir, you might choose to use Toxic set. Or you might choose to use stuff like Immortal gear. I don't know. Depends on the champion. But generally, we find regen set is like the solo build set. For Withir in particular, I would go Toxic gear. But I'm going to pretend it's not Withir for a second. We go into our stats. Let's just reset these stats. So sets, regen. We're going to want to make sure that we've got a minimum of 305 resistance to withstand those hits. If we've got somebody who's trying to land debuffs like poisons and stuff, like a Bad L or a Tomb Lord or whoever, we want to make sure we've got enough accuracy to land stuff. So let's just check what we need. A minimum of 225 to beat this resistance. So 225. So we call it 230 accuracy. And then I'm going to say, give me a ton of health and a ton of speed. Yeah. Or it might be that you need to be running 2-for-1 speed compared to the enemy. So, you need at least 200. Let's call it a 240 speed though, and as much health as you can get me. Optimize. And then basically this gives you your kind of solo build. Enough resistance to withstand the crap, enough accuracy to land your own stuff, enough speed to cycle through your abilities as quick as possible, and then loads of survivability. Particularly if you're using regen set, HP is the direction because you heal for a percentage of your health. But don't completely neglect defense because defense withstands some of the damage coming at you. So again, you might choose to go for an EHP build, effective H points, instead of a straight balanced build. But this is the type of build that I'd be putting in if I wanted to do solo-based content. Woo! 9 different builds for you to try and master. I want to say, as I always do, awesome work from the Optimiser team. You would not believe this tool when we first started trying to put it out there compared to where it is now. And, hats off to the team. To Teach, Wolfie, and Saf. They kill it month to month, bringing us all these new tools, making it faster, more effective, giving us more options. I didn't even touch on using glyphs. I didn't even touch on going into kind of like artifact filtering. There's so much in this. I have done other videos on that. But yeah, hopefully you'll find these 9 builds easy to kind of get on board with. And if you use the Optimiser, good luck. It's an awesome, awesome tool. I've been Hell Hades. I'll see you later.